Oh, and you're talking about that's the town of Fairfax.
Well, it used to be a town of Fairfax.
Used to be a town of Fairfax. I mean, it used to be several towns up and down that stretch that was serviced by a rail line. Well, you want to talk about ancient stuff, places that are possibly haunted. Maybe it's just think of all the people who used to live up in those areas, and they're no longer there. The buildings there's some foundations left, but it's a very extremely historical place. And I just have a feeling that if you want to find spirit activity, just find some old things, old tombstones. What is it about spirits being attracted to material objects, for instance? We went down to the Black Diamond Museum. It also is full of history, filled with items from back in the coal mining days.
What's that a town right by a Black Diamond that existed up to around 1911 or something? And then that was Franklin. We went up there.
You're
lucky. You know how many people disappeared up in that area because of the mine shafts?
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. There's a mine shaft up there.
Yeah.
It's a vertical drop of almost 1,100 feet. Now, they got a grate over it right now.
They didn't 25 years ago. I can tell you that. It was an open pit.
No, I know that. Yeah. Yeah, they closed it up. And we didn't go anywhere near that direction. But I found the pictures of the old town, and we walked through that whole section. It's right on top of the hill there, overlooking the valley. And you walk through it, and you never know, except for there are a few brick foundations and things. And it just blows your mind when you see a picture of so much activity and a rail line through there, and everything now is gone.
It's eerie, and there's a cemetery there. Did you ever see the cemetery?
I didn't see the cemetery. I know where it was. It was the same direction you go up towards the pit.
Yep, and it was on the left. If you're going up, would be on the left side.
Left side of that.
Yeah, that was really eerie because I was there, a couple times taking pictures of it. The average person died in their 20s or young kids.
Well, both me and my friend are very psychic prone, and we were experiencing all sorts of deja vu feelings while we were walking up there. Like we'd been there a long time ago, and I saw certain areas as we were walking down the hill towards this river area. Like, I've been here before. I've been here, been over here. So I'm not sure. Maybe there's some reincarnation issues about why we were drawn to that area in the first place. I don't know.
It's a dangerous area because, the museum down there in Black Diamond, I don't even know if it's in existence anymore, but they had some of my pictures of old steam trains donated, and they displayed them. But up there, I found a whole bunch of bottles, medicine bottles, sterling silver, where the bar used to be. I had permission to do some, excavating, and me and one of my sons, we came back and donated a whole bunch of that stuff to the museum. I tell you, they must have just, instead of disposing of it very far, they just threw it out in their property, and that was it. And then through the years, it got covered up with dirt.
What we actually felt while we were in the museum, especially when we were in the basement. I had the eerie feelings. Both of us were feeling there were some entity attachments to a lot of the keepsakes. I think people are drawn to these items of their past because they don't want to let go. They're drawn to, they love their life so much they don't let go of these objects, and they just stay. So it's it's an area of research I'm interested in. Of course, for me, I don't look at it as ghosts so much as I do as being in a different dimension. And, that's very scientific. That you become an entity, or you are an entity, and you just enter a different dimension at death, or you're part of that. And sometimes I think they're in between dimensions, and they don't want to leave or go where they're supposed to.
Well, it could be a lot of reasons. One, it could be greed because they were attached to material objects, number one, or they were attached to family members, or they died tragically. And there was a lot of people, working those coal mines that died. The thing is, that whole area is scary. Now it's all private property. Now it was the last probably 15 years. and you have to get permission to go on it. Or if they're not in a good mood and they catch you, they call the sheriff. But the thing is that a lot of people went up there to do what you did, what I did, not realizing they had a lot of air shafts dug around there that aren't on any records. So if you go off that trail anywhere and start poking your nose in the wrong area, you could just totally disappear.
You could. There was a vent shaft where the blowers used to be up in the middle of the town there, and I saw the elevated platform where it was, and I'm sure I didn't go up there or even try to go up there, but I'm sure that they led into a shaft because that's where they ventilated all the coal dust out of it. It's just I'm really interested in stuff like that, because it's something about history sometimes ties in with some of my other research on the paranormal side.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been up there probably in my lifetime, probably 20, 30 times at one point. And I tell you, every time I went there, after you walk up that kind of hill, long hill where the train tracks used to be, I felt I felt eerie. And even my one son, even my wife, a couple of times she even went, she would say, I don't want to come back here again. I just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, everybody feels that. I mean, I felt it, and she felt it. Especially for us, it was this strange feeling of being there before. That's the part that freaked us out a little bit. And matter of fact, in the parking area down below, we didn't even know where Franklin was. When we parked the car, and of course that's where you have to pay to actually keep. That's the part where you got
See, when I went there, it was owned by somebody else, and then somehow the ownership changed, and all that changed.
And as we got out of the car, walked in that flat section, I'm looking up on the hill, and I'm saying to her, I don't want to mention her name yet, because I will at some point if she says it's okay. But I look up on the hill, and I say, that's where Franklin used to be. And you know what? It just hit me like that. There was a lot of flat sections. It could have been down below or anything. No, it's up there on the hill. I remember that. How did I remember that? I've never been to this place before in my life.
Eerie.
That was really strange.
That's what my wife said. Do you know that? She said the same, pretty much. That's why she didn't want to go back. She felt like she was there at one time. And you know what? The population was, 1,100 people at one time? It wasn't a small area.
No. There was a company town, though. That's the reason it kind of disappeared. But it was, its whole existence was on to the fact that there was coal mining. Of course, when that dried up, so did the town. And before long, it just disappeared, about 60, 70 years ago. So... And that's what happens to a lot of these towns. That's what happened to the towns up by Carbonado and past that area, because it was all based on some kind of mining or some kind of logging or something. Well, I think mining mainly.
Yeah.
Or coal mining.
Coal mining. But I remember when I was a kid, because I'm 67 years old, I remember going with my mom and dad, my grandpa and my grandma. And we'd go out there, and there would be like little restaurants. There would be like a little strip town, little towns there. And when I got married, and that's when I was a little kid, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, we'd go up there, for a ride, and we did that quite often because it was nice. It was nice, easy, short, long ride, whatever you want to call it. But then I figured I'm going to take my wife there after we get married. Nothing existed. It was there when I was a little kid. It was all gone. And the road that goes down to those places is blocked off. Private property signs are put up, and there's no way to get to the area unless you walk on some designated path on the other end of the trail. Yeah, the past is so eerie. But you think about all those cemeteries, this out in the middle of nowhere, and maybe people haven't been there for years and years, or they, like me, I stumbled across some of those. And it's eerie when you walk into it and you see these grave markers and you see these 50-foot trees growing through them, 100-foot trees.
I know. I don't know. There's something about that it just sets me off and trying to figure stuff out.
That's why I told my wife when I die, might go ahead and cremate me. What's the whole point of being buried in a coffin and the expense? Because seriously, you're nothing. In our state, though, just remember this: you can be turned into peat moss.
Yeah, you can.
Legally.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, legally. In the state of Washington.
I don't think so.
Yes, they passed it. Yes, there's a company that does it.
Yeah,
I'm not. I know someone else that was trying to start a business was actually going to use your ashes and mix it with paint and actually paint you a portrait of you on a canvas, so you could literally say, "Yeah, that's so and so." I kid you not.
There's my mom and dad hanging on the wall. Yes,
I didn't. I don't think it flew, but it was somebody I knew that was actually going to do this.
Well, not Wilkerson. What's that place up by Roslyn? That somewhat ghost town, Roslyn. Up there before you get into Roslyn, as you come into going to Roslyn, I should say, off that side road, there's a whole bunch of trees there, and people are planted with the trees. A whole bunch.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's famous for it. You can go up there, and you can be planted with a seed, and grow into a tree. And it's a whole bunch of people buried there. Lots of them. It's a big thing. I tell you, I'm not comfortable with being turned into peat moss, guys. I don't. Yeah, you okay? Hey, yeah,
my plan is to be buried at sea.
Yeah. Oh, how did you like the corn tonight, guys? Was it sweet enough for you? Oh yeah, it was lovely corn, and I really loved those strawberries. Yeah, it was peat moss from my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Oh, that little bit of extra something to give it that really special kind of taste that you really yearn for, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I might go to cannibalism. I mean, but you know what? Once you're dead, you're dead. But I don't know. Does your spirit? Because again, I don't think your spirit. In some cases, the people earthbound leave their body, because if you go to the cemetery and you see ghosts, or you hear, you get these sounds like, "My name is George," as you're walking in the cemetery recording it with your recorder, they're hanging where their bodies are, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're attached to their physical selves, or the tombstone, or some reference that keeps them there.
Well, then how about somebody that's been turned into peat moss? I mean, what's that going to be like?
Well, I guess they'll inhabit a tree, I suppose.
I don't know. Hey, you're eating the strawberry. Don't eat me on your mother.
Oh, my.
Anyway, guess what, guys? The time went by fast.
Oh, this is too much. The time has gone by too quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like this. I like how I kind of changed the format of the show. We still got an hour and a half with the guest, and we talk about, Bigfoot or UFOs or abductions, but then we can talk about paranormal stuff as a round table and just, and have a conversation, which I'm sure the people out there like it as much as we do. What do you think, James?
I'm all for it. That there's so much to talk about. There's so many different fields of the paranormal, so we've got a lot of material to work with.
And if you want, I just want to say, if there's a listener that wants to become a semi-regular, come on once or twice a month on the round table, you can get a hold of me at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. It's simple, nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. And hit me up, and hey, I'll add you on to the round table, and we can talk about all these interesting and creepy things, especially Halloween coming up.
Yeah,
we got to get some creepy stuff coming up in about next week. You know that.
Oh, I've got some creepy stuff. I've got to go to a case here on the 19th that's going to be off the hook creepy. Believe me.
Oh yeah. Hey guys, I enjoyed having you on. Sam, real quick, your podcast. How can they find it?
Go to greenwaternights.com with a Z, Greenwater Nights with a Z at the end of the nights.com, and you'll find my show.
And you can find James hanging around, on my show every night. And everybody, till tomorrow, when we have Ronald Meyer on talking about Bigfoot. Are they associated with UFOs and aliens? So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Everybody have a great one. Guys, thank you for being on tonight.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Eric.